take your paper towel, fold it up, or your Kleenex, because you're going to need a little tiny square on it, or a little tiny point, like I've got right there. And I'm just going to fold it over one more time, just so it's even tighter. So I got so it's a little more stiff. I don't want it to be too soft. Now it's important that we kind of go in order on this, because if we start randomly going from one value to another, we might mix stuff up. So the lightest place on our shark is that belly shadow right there. So that's the first place I'm going to go to soften things up, and I'm going to be careful as I go across there, just trying to lighten it up, soften it up. If I go a little bit outside the lines, come back later and just erase it. All the way back to the tail. I just want that to soften up and not be too dark right there. That's why I keep that little point there, so I can control it. I'm not going to come in here and do these little fins or the tail until last, because they're kind of dark. So we'll get that first, that lighter shadow on the bottom. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit higher. Okay, and then I'm going to come from the top of my shark up here and work my way down to the center line, basically. So I'm going to just take clear across top of the back. Be careful not to get it in the eye. Just going to smoothen that whole top out. I want to make sure I get right to the edge. Like I say, you can always go back and erase it if you go over the edge a little bit. Carefully going around the eye, trying not to get it in the eyeball itself. And I really like this part. I like doing this part because now it starts to really look like shark skin instead of just pencil. And I'm having a time with fingerprints right now. All right, once you have gone all the way to the very top edge and smoothed that out, then come down here to this darker area we got right here, where the muscles were that I mentioned yesterday. Oops, I'm going to pull this over here. This is just so I got a reference right here in front of me. I'm going to come down here where these muscles were, and I'm going to soften that bottom one. And as I go over it, it should lighten up quite a bit. Then I'm going to do the top one. And kind of just let that blend into the stuff right above it. Before, that really stood out, but after I go over it with the Kleenex, it's a lot more subtle. It's a little harder to see. And that's exactly how it should be. So hopefully on yours it does look that way. Now if it's still super dark on yours, you might need to rub a little harder with your Kleenex to try to soften it up. You might need to widen it just a little bit if it's just a little thin line going through there. It's just a little thin line going through there, maybe widen it up a little bit and then come back and soften it. But he's looking more sharky-like all the time and less like sandpaper. All right, let's come up here. Does everybody have the body done? Does anybody need more time on the body before I move? Okay, let's come up here and get this big fin done right here. Be really careful that you're not filling in that little white strip at the top. I'm just trying to be careful and not go outside the line, but if I do, I can fix it. And you can just blend that right on down into the body. I'm not sitting here trying to stop at the body line. I'm just blending it right on through, okay? Because it is all interconnected. Now my Kleenex is getting kind of worn out and all ratty looking, so I'm just going to fold it back the other way and make a new corner. So I have a little tiny corner that's not all worn down, because I got to go in little tiny places like this fin right here. So I'm just going to work my way across to the right, do that little fin, do this little fin down here. I didn't do the tail yet. I'll come back and do that in a minute. I'm going to do this little fin right here, so I'm going to do all the smaller fins first, including the big one up here, this big pectoral fin. And then I'll save the tail for the very last. Because it's okay if that tail goes a little dark. That's why I'm saving it for the end. I have a little place where I went out a little bit, so just erase it. And he looks pretty smooth now. That's what we were hoping for. This spot I can still rub just a little more right there. Now, is there anybody that needs more time to finish what we've done? Okay, if I don't see hands, I just keep moving on. Now we're going to go put black accents on. We're going to do the eye. So let's go ahead and start with the eye right here. So I'll zoom that way in so you can see the eye. Hopefully it'll focus here in a second. There it is. Then I'm going to leave a little tiny spot white, and then I'm going to make the rest of that black. I mean, it's just a little tiny shine on there, like the size of a pinhead. I'm going to come back up here to our dorsal fin that we've got up here. This is the main fin. It's the thing that really defines it as a shark, and this is what makes it called a blacktip shark. We're going to come right in here, color this top part right here in black. Get that good and black, and hence it is now a blacktip shark officially. I'm going to move down here to this fin, and that little part that we left white, we're going to make that black. Now that's good and dark. Then on the tail, I'm going to come in here and make this little triangle that's left right on the tip of the tail. I'm going to make that black right there. Being careful. And then this part that's left white down here, this is all going to go black too. Just bringing a line right down to the inside of my original line. Going back up. Trying to keep that as straight as I can. I don't want it to look jagged. So that's why I go over it once, like with one line, and then come back and curve around the bottom. But I don't want to be going like this in coloring. I want to just make a nice smooth line around it, so it's got a nice clean edge to it. Just like that. Now that black edge that we stuck on this little fin, we'll do the same thing on this one down here. That one's dark now. And then we're going to jump over to our next fin, make this one black along the edge. Remember, I go along the outside edge and then come do the inside of it last. And then the fin that's behind it, just that little edge right there, I'll move it right now. There you go. Okay, so this edge and then the little edge on the one that's behind it, we're going to make that black too. We're getting near completion, not quite there, but we're getting near. Okay, so we've got all the fins except these two done. So I'm going to move this up, turn it this way. I just don't want my hand rubbing over my drawing, so I'm turning it around so that my hand's not rubbing it. Go along this edge, because I don't want my hand over here. Go along the other edge. While I have it upside down, I'll go ahead and do the other fin behind it. I'll turn it right side up. I've got all my edges done, all my black tips put on it, and then it just needs a couple more things to finish it up a little bit. Okay, so we used the same method to smooth out all that skin as we used on the Ghost, right? And then with the Ghost, we went back in with our eraser and did some drawing to give it texture. We're going to use our eraser on this one too, but it's to give it a texture, but it's to look like a shiny texture. So what I'm going to do is come right above this eye and bring a streak that goes back with the edge of my pencil, and I'm going to end it just before that dorsal fin. It's going to come along here just like that, and lift it up right at the end. So I got a little shiny spot. Bring that down there so you can see it. Little shiny spot going right along there. Whoops, I accidentally touched it, put an extra one in there. We can make that go away. All right. That looks a little small, so I'm going to press. Now your erasers might be a little different. If your eraser's kind of wide, you might not have to go back over it again. Mine's pretty narrow, so I'm just going one more time. But I lift it up right at the end so I get a point on the end and not just a squared off image. Then I'm going to come over here and go all the way from here to here and do it again. So I'll do it lightly first just so I know where I'm going. Come back in here and make it a little bit brighter. And lightly take my Kleenex and just get the little eraser shavings off. Oops. There you go. Okay, and then just a couple more shines on this thing. I'm going to put a big one that goes right here, fairly wide one. So I'm going to press down kind of hard first, and then lift up. I want this one to be a little bit bigger through the middle of his body, and I'm just going to let it go back towards that lighter part there. So it's a big, whoops, it's a big shine right here on the side of his body. He's looking more sleek and shiny and smooth all the time. And then we got a couple of fins we got to do some stuff too. Does anybody need more time on the one on the body? Okay, you two just give me a thumbs up as soon as you're ready, and then I'll move on. Okay, we're going to go right on the front of the dorsal fin, not on the very outer edge, just a little inside from the edge. It's going to be on the front. I want it to curve there and just go up. And just put a little shine on the front of that dorsal fin. And I'm going to come down here to the tail. I'm going to put a little shine the same way. Goes up towards the end here. A little wider at the bottom, a little brighter, and gets narrow at the other end, and then just fades off. Got a little shine right there on the back end of his tail. Now this was our practice shark. It's the first time we've done it. I was looking at a lot of your drawings. A lot of them were turning out really good. I imagine most of them finished out okay. You know kind of if you have something off and what you have to do for the next time that you do it. But for now, hopefully everybody's got a shark that looks something similar.